All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about a tool that's basically a financial GPS for any project or business you can dream up. It's called Breakeven Analysis, and it is seriously powerful. You know that feeling, right? You've poured your heart, your soul, maybe even your life savings into a new venture, and you lie awake at night asking yourself the question, when is all this hard work actually going to pay off? I mean, when do you stop bleeding cash and finally start seeing some profit? It's so easy to get lost, isn't it? You're buried in spreadsheets, invoices, all these different numbers swirling around. One of our sources perfectly describes it as an informational haze. You're just foggy. You think you're heading in the right direction, but you don't really know for sure where you stand financially. And that uncertainty, it can totally freeze you up.
Okay, but what if I told you there's a way to cut right through that fog? And no, it's not some super complex, scary calculus. The Yale School of Management puts it perfectly. It's just basic arithmetic. That's it. This tool is called Break-Even Analysis, and all it takes are 3 super simple key ingredients.
First up, we've got your fixed costs. Think of these as the bills that show up every single month, no matter what. Your rent, your insurance, the salaries for your main team. It doesn't matter if you sell 1 million widgets or 0 widgets, you're paying these. They're like the foundation of your financial house. They're just there. Ingredient number 2 is the total opposite, variable costs. These guys are directly tied to how much you produce. So think about the raw materials you use, the packaging, the shipping fees. If you don't sell anything, these costs can literally be 0. But the moment you start selling, they start climbing. The more you sell, the higher they go.
And finally, the last piece of the puzzle, your selling price. This one's super simple, right? It's just the price tag. It's what your customer pays you for one of your products or services. So we've got our 3 ingredients. Now we're ready to cook.
So how do we actually put this all together? It's a surprisingly simple 3-step recipe. First, you take your selling price and subtract the variable costs for that one item. This gives you something called the contribution margin, and that's a key number. It's the little chunk of cash from each sale that's left over to help pay down your big fixed costs. Okay, step 2, you just need to know what your total fixed costs are. And then for the grand finale, step 3, you just divide your total fixed costs by that contribution margin. Boom! That's it. That's the whole thing. Okay, let's put some real numbers to this to make it click. Imagine you're running a cool home decor business. You sell this awesome item for $50. Now let's say it cost you $25 in materials and shipping for each one. That's your variable cost. So 50 minus 25 gives you a contribution margin of $25. Every sale gives you $25 to chip away at your big bills. Let's say your rent and salaries, your fixed costs, are $15,000 a month. So we take that $15,000 and divide it by our $25 margin, and what do we get? $600. That's the magic number. You have to sell exactly 600 of these things just to break even. But that 600 first sale, that's pure, sweet profit. Numbers are great. They really are. But seeing this stuff visually, that's when you get that aha moment. A simple chart can show you exactly where the magic happens, where your costs and your income finally meet. So let's build one together, piece by piece. Okay, first things first, we start with our foundation. This flat, horizontal line right here, those are your fixed costs. Remember, it doesn't matter how many units you sell, 0 or 1,000, that number stays exactly the same. It's our baseline. Next, let's layer on the variable costs. See how this new total costs line doesn't start at 0? It starts right on top of our fixed costs line, because even if you sell nothing, you still have those fixed costs to pay. And then, for every single unit you produce, that line creeps up a little bit more. More stuff equals more cost. And now for the fun part. Let's bring in the money. This is your total income. And this line, of course, starts at 0. If you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. But with every single sale, it starts climbing and climbing. And you can already see this is basically a race, right? And here is it, the finish line. That one single spot where your income line finally crosses over your total costs line. That is your break-even point. To the left of that intersection, you're losing money. We'll call that the loss zone. But every single sale you make to the right of that point, welcome to the profit zone. It's literally that simple. But hold on, because breaking even isn't just for businesses chasing profits. This tool is way more flexible than you might think. In fact, it can be absolutely critical for organizations where making money isn't the #1 goal at all. Yeah, check this out. For a regular business, the goal is simple. Get past the break-even point and just keep climbing.
The sky's the limit, right? More profit is always better. But for a nonprofit, say a human service agency, the goal is completely different. They actually want to land exactly on the break-even point. Think about it. A big deficit means they failed, but a massive surplus is also a problem. It means they had all these resources that they didn't use to help people. Their worry goes both ways, which makes that break-even point the perfect target to aim for.
Okay, so this tool is obviously super powerful. But let's be real for a second. It's a tool, not a magic 8-ball. It's designed to help you make smarter, data-driven decisions, not to perfectly predict the future. So there are a few things you've got to keep in mind. This whole calculation assumes that your costs and your prices are going to stay the same, which, they might not. It also doesn't really account for your competitors or whether people even want to buy your product. And that's why this is an amazing tool for short-term planning, for getting a snapshot right now. But honestly, none of that makes it any less valuable. The best way to think about break-even analysis is as an early warning system. It's what blasts away that informational haze we talked about. It takes all those gut feelings and "I think we're doing okay" moments and replaces them with cold, hard numbers. It'll show you potential problems or opportunities way before they sneak up on you. And this really brings it all home. There's this fantastic quote from the Yale School of Management that says this basic calculation quickly quantifies every single decision in a firm. Just think about that. Thinking about raising your prices? What about hiring a new employee? This simple formula can tell you exactly how many more sales you need to make to justify that decision. It's incredible. So what this all does is it pulls beautiful, simple clarity out of what feels like complex chaos. Which brings me to my final question for you. Forget about a huge company for a second. Think about your project, your side hustle, your nonprofit idea. What is the very first decision you could plug into this formula right now to understand its real impact? Give it a shot. Thanks for joining me.